What is up? So this season I reached Master 1 with full-powered Kashtira. Last time I posted a deck profile with the Punk engine, but with the new support that was added for Kashtira, you can actually play it as pure, and it is crazy and one of the most toxic decks of all time. So let's hop into the deck profile. So here's the deck profile I finally ended up settling on towards the end of the climb. I did make quite a few changes throughout the season, but this is what I ended up with. I noticed that I was playing a lot of Cache Mirrors. It's by far the most popular deck on ladder, so I actually ended up cutting Dimension Shifter. Obviously, if the deck becomes less represented, then you will want to play that card because it's broken against almost every deck that's not the mirror match. So without further ado, let's go into the deck profile. So we have 3 Kashtira Unicorn. Of course, you want to see him every single game. He's the 1-card starter, so you got to play 3. Fenrir. 2 copies of him because he's semi-limited. Obviously, you would play 3 if he was at 3. 1 copy of Ogre. So Ogre is used to search a trap, or it can search a trap, but really it's just an extra name in this deck. I'm not playing Preparations, as you can see, because it's kind of a brick, but you need that extra name to have consistency with Theosis, which we'll get into. And then 2 of the new cards added, Scareclaw Kashtira and Tear Limits Kashtira added in the new pack. Both of these are very solid cards. Scarecash is good for outing a lot of problematic boss monsters, since it just kind of just negates when you attack with it or another Kashtira monster. It doesn't activate or target or anything. But it's also just a level 7 extender, which is cool and helps you make rank 7s. I also play Tear Cash. Not everyone plays this card, but I think you probably should. It has some benefits in that you can mill your opponent's deck and see what they're playing, which can actually help decide what your end board is, which you'll see in one of the replays. So I would definitely play it. It's also good in Tear Limits as well, if they didn't completely gut and annihilate the deck. Yeah, so we have 3 Rise Heart, of course. I would not play Rhoda, like Reinforcement of the Army, because you don't really need to search him. You don't want to see him by himself, but again, he is a good extender to have. Then we have another new card added, Kashtira Theosis, one of the most important cards in the entire deck in terms of consistency. It allows you to target 1 Kashtira monster you control and special summon 1 Kashtira with a different attribute from your deck in defense position, and it locks you into Xyz monsters. So obviously this is how you build pretty powerful boards. You need to see this card. And so it's a 1-card combo with Unicorn. Unicorn searches it, and you use it to basically e-tele into Fenrir, and then continue playing from there. And it has also a very good effect if it's banished. You can target one of your banished Kashtira cards except Theosis and add it to your hand. Very, very powerful, and gives you a lot of synergy with a Rise Heart. Pressured Planet Raidsoth, another new card that was added. Very important for consistency. Unfortunately, they banned Terraforming and they limited this card, so this deck is quite a bit more bricky than it was in the TCG. And even in the TCG, it was still pretty darn bricky. With 3 Prosperity, 3 Field Spell, Terraforming, it's still bricky, so you can imagine. But it's still very powerful. But yeah, you want to see it every game. So I am playing Planet Pathfinder, which you'll see in a lot of lists. Since this deck is not super normal summon reliant, you can normal summon this, and then it's basically terraforming, but it uses your normal summon, which is fine. So I probably wouldn't play more than one of this, since this field spell is limited. It can just be a dead card later on in the game. And I'd rather just have non-engine in its place. We have 3 Birth, definitely the best card in the main deck. It's just very, very broken. So you can obviously normal summon a level 7 without tributing, but it allows you to special any of your non-Xyz Kashtira monsters that are banished in your graveyard, and it doesn't target. And then it has another disruption effect, which is really good against some decks like Runic, which I didn't really run into. But yeah, this card is super important. You always want to see it, so play 3 of it. Really not much to say there about that. We have Big Bang, another new card that was added. It's kind of a brick, but it also has a pretty good effect when it's banished. You can basically target one of your Kashtira Xyz, take one of the materials that's attached to it, and either add it to your hand or special summon it, which makes your board bigger, or you can just get follow-up. You don't have to special summon the card that you add to your hand. And it does have another effect. It's kind of like evenly matched. So if you draw it, it's not like the end of the world, and it can definitely catch your opponent off guard. So yeah, it is a brick, but I would definitely still play it. Then for rest of the consistency in the main deck, 3 copies of Pot of Desires, you absolutely have to play this. With Prosperity at 1, you need to draw, like, you need to see more cards. You need to see Unicorn, or at least your extenders, and ideally also non-engine while you're at it. So definitely play 3 copies of Desires. It's okay if you banish, like, some of your things face down, because you can always get them back with the Rise Heart. So it's not a big deal. And the very small amount of times that this card conflicts with Prosperity, I'd say it's still worth playing. On Prosperity, obviously one of the most important cards that this deck can ever possibly play. Being able to dig 6 makes it much more likely that you get access to Unicorn. And with how a Rise Heart works, which I'll get into when I get to that card, it allows you to choose which card you're banished. You can banish like some cards like Fossil Warrior, Skull Knight, or Garuda or whatever, and then attach it to a Rise Heart, which can give you some follow-up if he gets outed somehow. So yeah, definitely play Prosperity. You want to see it every game if you can. And also if you activate Desires first and then they ash it, then you can actually use Prosperity after that, since you didn't draw anything by card effect. 3 triple copies of Triple Tactic Sound. This is also extremely important to have. Going second into Kashtira, it's one of the strongest cards you can have in the entire game. Going first, it's good if you get ashed, because you all often get ashed on Theosis. Sometimes people even wait till they don't have their toggle on. I noticed this happened quite a lot. They don't have their toggle on, so they don't actually max C in draw phase. So as soon as I special summon Unicorn, then they max C, and I'm like, okay, fine, Talons, look at your hand, I guess. It's also another consistency card since you can draw 2 off of it. So you absolutely have to play 3 of this. I would not play Triple Tactics Thrust. It's a new card that came out as well in the new set. I would not bother playing that in this deck unless you want to play Blind Second, which is definitely an option. It's something that I would consider actually doing. But I built this as a going first deck. Yeah, the issue with Thrust is that going first, there's nothing really that you want to set with it. So I wouldn't play that. Yeah, and then we can go into non-engine. I played 2 Kaijus. I started noticing that after Kashtira, which is by far the most you'll play like 80% Kashtira, you'll play against quite a bit of Pearly as well, so you need to have an out to Noir, and this is the best way to do it. Then we have the Maxi package, of course. 3 Maxi, 3 Ash. I didn't bother putting Called By in because I just don't think it's high enough impact at the moment. It's pretty bad in the mirror match, and yeah, like if you get Maxied, it's fine. I can show you what happens in one of the replays. When you get Maxied, you can very much still win if that happens. But yeah, I'd still play Ash at least. One other thing that you can do with Ash is normal summon it and make Baron or Cheng Ying, since you have level 7s and a level 3 tuner. 2 copies of Valor. I was just trying it out. It was fine. If you want to play like a Synchro 8 like Omega, you can do that as well. But more importantly, you can, if you have like a Nibiru token or something, you can normal summon it and make Donner. So it's just a hand trap that's normal summonable. And 1 copy of Imperm. It's really just as a crossout target. Crossout is very good. Because obviously you're going to be playing a lot of mirror matches, so hitting like Fenrir or hitting Birth is very high impact, or even hitting Talons, like I mentioned, can win you games pretty much by itself. And also even like in your opponent's end phase, you can like banish Fenrir and then on your turn summon it back with Birth. So I would definitely play Crossout. It's very good. It can also trigger Cheng Ying if you make that. So you can use Cheng Ying basically at any point on your opponent's turn. 1 Harpies. There is a decent amount of Labyrinth, I'd say. That's probably the 3rd most popular. So it's Cash by far, and then Pearly, and then probably Labyrinth after that. And Labyrinth is pretty annoying to deal with. I don't know what happened this season, but every time I played them, they would keep drawing their 1 of skill drain. So that was pretty annoying. So I would definitely play Harpies. It's also pretty good against Cash as well, because sometimes they'll have set stuff like Book of Moon or Imperm even. So it's not bad in the mirror match either. We can go into the extra deck. So for our Cash monsters, we have 2 Shangri-Ira. Never felt the need for playing more than 2 of this. You do have to play at least 2 though, because if your opponent just rips it with Unicorn, you could be in trouble. 3 copies of a Rise Heart. So this is the new Xyz that was added in the newest pack. One of the most broken Xyz monsters ever released. It's a Macrocosmos on legs. It can target any card on the field and banish it face down at any point. And each time a card is banished, you can add, or you have to attach a banished card to it as material, but that does include your face down banished cards. So this last effect here kind of gives it a weakness, because since it's a mandatory effect, it turns on cards like Triple Tactics Talent, and then Kurikara Div Incarnate as well. So it does have a weakness, but it is extremely strong against almost every rogue deck in the entire game. But I wouldn't just sit on this turn 1, because in the mirror match it's not that great. I'd probably just cut this down to 2. 3 never came up. Even 2 like hardly ever came up as well. One thing that's also really important to understand is with the exact wording on this, so once per turn you can also Xyz summon a Rise Heart by using one Kashtira monster you control if an effective Kashtira Shangri-Ira was successfully activated this turn. So notice how it doesn't say if you activated it. So if your opponent makes Shangri-Ira, and then on your turn, like on the standby phase, they use its effect to summon from deck, then this part is actually live. So you can actually just like summon any of your cash monsters and just slap a Rise Heart on top of it. So in the mirror match, you have to be very careful about making this and using its effect. You don't want to be reckless with that, because you can actually just lose the game by doing that. But yeah, a Rise Heart is extremely powerful. Zeus, obviously. Definitely play more than one of this if it wasn't limited, because it's like the first thing that your opponent will rip with Unicorn when they get the chance to activate it. But yeah, definitely play it. Infinite Track Goliath, so this is one of those cards that you can attach with Prosperity, or you can banish it with Prosperity and then attach it to a Rise Heart, and basically just prevents it from being destroyed by card effects. It never really came up, but it's fine, I guess. Similarly, we have Fossil Warrior Skull Knight, another card that you can attach. It has a graveyard effect, which you can just banish it and then target one monster on the field and destroy it. So that can give you like a stronger turn 3 if your Rise Heart gets outed. We have Donner, Dagger for Hire, so he is a Link monster, or a generic Link 2, 2 monsters with different types. This one is also mandatory because, well, like, since your cash monsters need no monsters in the main monster zone to, or no monsters at all, to special summon them, you need to have an empty board at times. So Donner will let you like link away any of your monsters with like a Nibiru token and then pop any monster your opponent controls at the same time. So you have to play Donner. Unfortunately, he's an ultra rare, but you gotta do what you gotta do. 2 copies of Big Eye. I would definitely play 2 of this because, like I mentioned, Unicorn can be pretty important in the mirror match. So if they rip your Big Eye, it's pretty annoying. Yeah, but Big Eye is extremely powerful. You can permanently steal an opponent's monster. It's soft once per turn as well, so you can make, if you can make multiple Big Eyes, you can actually steal multiple monsters with it. Flare Metal Dragon didn't really come up for me, but it's okay. Like, it can't be destroyed by card effects, but it also, it's kind of like Masquerade. It burns your opponent every time they try to do something. So if you're not able to game them, you could set on this, then they can't really do anything, or else they just die from burn damage. Dark Arm, so this is a mandatory slot as well. It can just pop 2 cards your opponent controls and also banish from graveyard, which allows you to like basically trigger Theosis whenever, or on your turn. Yeah, so this one also has a restriction where if you use the effect, you can't attack for the rest of the turn, but you can actually attack first and then use the effect, which is different from Big Eye. Big Eye, you cannot do that. You can only attack or use the effect in the same turn, not both. But yeah, it just pops 2 cards. You definitely want to play this card, so yeah. And I think another card that you may want to consider, which you can either cut Goliath or Skull Knight for, is Dracossack. It is an ultra rare, and I didn't have one at the time, but it's a way that you can outskill Drain potentially, because it tributes itself for cost and then pops a card. But yeah, that's all for the deck profile. Let's get into some replays and see the deck in action. So for the first replay, we have me going first. I was playing Shifter, I guess, at this point, but I mean, obviously I ended up cutting it. So yeah, I used Unicorn to search. It's a 1-card combo. And Theosis target Unicorn. and summon Fenrir from deck. Fenrir searches, Rise Heart, summon Rise Heart, and you make Shang. Then you use Rise Heart to banish Big Bang. You can use Shangri-Ira to lock a zone, and then Big Bang to target and detach a monster, and then summon it if you want to. So I summoned Fenrir. And since Shangri-Ira activated its effect, you can just slap Rise Heart on top of that. Right now you can see it only has one material, which is not great. You want to have you need to have 3 to be able to use its effect to target a card on the field and banish it face down. So now I'm going to activate Desires. Draw into Birth, which is very good. So then Shang can just target Big Bang to add. I could have tried to do this to get the 3rd material, but I took the risk here. So my opponent goes for Unicorn first. Fenrir will target the Unicorn. Shang will lock zones. And then a Rise Heart mandatory will also attach. So I can attach a Theosis from my face down banished, which will give me follow-up. So now here I use Unicorn. Yeah, each time you banish one of your opponent's cards face down, you can also lock a zone with Shang, which is annoying for the opponent to deal with. Goes Theosis. I'm just going to Ash that, because I can. I didn't really need to do this. I could have just let him attack over Fenrir. It's fine, but, you know, whatever. So now I get back Unicorn off of Theosis' effect. So now he sets 4. Or sets 4. And here I can basically force out everything with what's on board without having to commit any of my cards in hand. So I'm going to do that. Theosis will add back. And then, yeah, here I use Big Bang to detach from Shangri-Ira, and I just add it to hand because I didn't need to summon anything there. Fenrir Search. Then we make Dark Armed, pop 2. Here I realized, yeah, you need to have actually a card in graveyard already to activate Dark Armed. So I just linked off the Rise Heart, it's fine. Make Donner. So now I already have a card in graveyard, so I can use Dark Armed. I pop, and I activate Birth, and it's over. GG. Here we have another replay. Going second this time. So we're playing the mirror match again. I mean, it's going to be pretty much all the mirror match. So they milled me to see what I was playing, but didn't work. So they make Shang, which is a big mistake, as you will see. Let's just fast forward a bit. Yeah, this end board is extremely weak. So, like, in the mirror match, you actually want to go second. That's one thing that you'll realize when you're playing it. Because of stuff like this, this end board is extremely weak against Kashtira itself, as you can probably guess. Like, there's no way he wins. It's like, he already activated Shang, so I can just make Zeus. So since he activated Shang, I can just slap a Rise Heart on top of it, go battle phase. He can't do anything because his Rise Heart has 1 material, so he just can't banish a thing. And I'm just going to make Zeus, wipe it. And then he has 1 card in hand. I have Birth, and I win. GG. Here we have another replay going second in against Scareclaw Cash. So it's basically Cash with like a pretty large Scareclaw engine. So my Maxi gets ashed, unfortunately. So you can just full combo. These are pretty standard Scareclaw plays. So Tryhard is kind of annoying to deal with since it changes every monster to defense. It doesn't like negate anything, it doesn't prevent you from playing, but it's kind of annoying to out. So he's going to set up a very big board. So yep, he goes to end phase. So this is quite a lot. He has a Rise Heart. He has Fenrir. He has this. If I try to attack him, this will negate my monster. Technically, Birth is an interruption as well. He has a negate. Well, it's not live right now, but once I out the Rise Heart, it'll be live. It'll be an Omni negate. So I have to be pretty careful about how I sequence this. So I can search for the unicorn. Nothing's stopping me from doing that. Okay, here he makes a huge mistake. He activates Chang's effect to lock his own for no reason. So never do this, by the way. Never do this if you're playing against the mirror match. And again, you'll see why. So I use talents to take. It doesn't target. Yeah, so I'm just going to take the Tryhard because it's otherwise kind of difficult to deal with. I can't pop it with Donner either because he has a Revel Engrave to protect it. So I need to link it off. I'm going to make Donner. Donner, I'll just pop something. Pop Fenrir. Then we go Birth. And he keeps attaching the cards that I need, which is kind of annoying, but don't worry, I'll be getting rid of him shortly. Okay, so he goes Big Bang, which is also kind of annoying, as it forces each player to banish so they only control one monster. But we're okay, because I'm going to make a Rise Heart. So I'm doing this to out his Rise Heart, which you'll see why again. Before I make this, I want to get rid of his Rise Heart so that I can use Theosis's banished effect, basically. Because he keeps attaching it, so I can't use it. So I'm going to out it now. Now it will get banished. Now I can use Theosis to add back, and he scoops because he's done so. So that's the deck profile and replays for Kashtira, everyone's favorite deck that banishes things face down. You can follow me on Master Duel at my ID, which is shown here. And like and subscribe, and join my Discord. Alright, thanks for watching. Peace.